Thank you. That was so beautiful. Good morning, and welcome to worship at the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock on this sunny, cold day. Here at Shelter Rock, we practice being a loving religious community where we can grow spiritually and help build a more just and joyful world. Here, we believe we need not think alike to love alike. I'm Madison Colquitt, and I am your student minister for this congregational year. I am grateful to serve alongside lead minister Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore and associate ministers Reverend David Carl Olson and Reverend Israel Buffardi. Whether this is your first or 40th or more time joining us today, welcome. We are glad you are spending your Sunday morning with us here in this community. I also want to extend a special welcome to those joining us online. We feel your presence and warmth in this space. If you are visiting, we would love the opportunity to get to know you better. So please complete a visitor card at the welcome desk out front, and please join us for a lunch after this service as our guest. Here at Shelter Rock, you are invited in to our many opportunities for spirituality, for social justice, and community. Today at 12 o'clock in the social hall, join the Social Justice Committee for a social action event writing letters to people who have been unjustly imprisoned. At 12:30 in the art gallery, Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore will host Love at the Center book talks featuring Love at the Center, Unitarian Universalist Theologies. This is a new edition edited by our UUA president, Reverend Dr. Sophia Bettencourt. At 1 o'clock in the bride's room, Reverend Israel Buffardi leads the Welcoming Pathways program. Today the focus is on practicing welcome in a community of socioeconomic diversity. Also, at 1 o'clock, Reverend David Carl Olson and Bernie Fitzgerald lead Do's and Don'ts for Hospital Visits, a discussion on lay pastoral care, and they'll meet in the Veach House terrace room. Looking ahead, our Christmas Eve service will be on Tuesday, beginning at 5 o'clock. This year, we're hosting one wonderful service with carol singing and a reception to follow. Please bring a dessert to share.
And good morning to all of you. I add my welcome, my hearty, warm welcome to all of you. I'm the Reverend Israel Buffardi. Before we enter into our service today and we light our chalice, I just wanted to draw your attention to the music that will be offered, that will be shared, that will be lovingly performed during the service today. These are selections from Benjamin Britten's A Ceremony of Carols. This is truly sacred music that we offer for all of us today. And I just wanted to say about this piece that you may or may not know that it was composed during World War II by Benjamin Britten after he had found, by happenstance, a book of medieval poetry of these carols that represent the themes of peace and love and hope and faith that the holiday season has to offer. But he found this book by chance in a bookstore in Halifax, Nova Scotia, where I used to live, if you don't know. And he was inspired by the words of poetry in that book to compose this carol at the height of a war that brought horrors to many. After a perilous journey in a boat across the Atlantic, fearing for his own life, wondering if he would get home, he felt the need to compose a carol at a very dark time, to offer hope to offer a sense of peace and quiet, resilience, and to remind us that the thing that is most beautiful and light and sacred can be found even at the darkest of moments. So as you receive this music today with our service, I invite you to reflect on this dark time of the year, this solstice time, on the hope, on the faith, on the light, on the beauty that we are all kindling in ourselves, despite all of the challenges and the darkness that we face. And now Madison will lead us in the lighting words for our chalice.
Yesterday, with the Earth-Based Spirituality Group, Reverend David, Carl Olson, and I led a worship service celebrating the winter solstice. I invite you today, as we invited each other yesterday, into this space, a space of worth, a space where all are held, a space where we honor the dark and the light at this winter solstice time. For we need both darkness and light to survive. We light this chalice with the words of Reverend Jakaran Olaoya. We light this chalice here in the darkness of winter as we wait. This temporary space is one filled with prayers to be answered, love to be given and received, miracles to be witnessed. May this light guide us until the light of the sun returns again.
Yes, let us greet the arrival of winter with such gusto. For rarely I have experienced has a season arrived so swiftly and so undeniably as winter did yesterday. In the midst of this busy season, when perhaps there is still much left to do on your to-do lists, the cold has asked us, forced us perhaps, to slow down a little bit. To remember that there are seasons to all of our lives, seasons to all that we go through, that there is a time to grow, a time to plant, a time to rest and take stock. And notice what is beautiful. Notice what is peaceful. Notice what is worthy of attention, of our own attention at any moment. To pay attention to what is true and loving in our lives. So as we gather together this morning, as we begin this service together, I invite you to enter into this time together. Enter into this time together as if this hour were an extended prayer, an extended moment of mindful meditation, for you to feel yourself planted in this room, feel yourselves in these seats with each other, to see who you are gathered with, to know yourselves as part of a community, to know that the people seated next to you might be strangers, and they also could be that one person that you meet that changes your life. If we're rushing around, it can be hard to do that, to stop and to notice what is right next to us. If we're rushing to get somewhere else, we might fail to notice what is beautiful right before us. So I invite you, maybe not quite so closely and physically during this cold and flu season, but metaphorically speaking, to cozy up next to each other. To cozy up next to each other as if we were gathered around a warm fire. To wear community, to wear the beauty and the gifts of community like a warm blanket today. To hear our music as if it were ancient, timeless carols that have been playing in the background in your house for many years. And to notice, as you slow down, what needs to be noticed in your own heart too. To make space for what is growing, to notice what feels cold and hard and difficult. We're gathered together at the time of the solstice, when the light in the sky is at its dimmest, darkest. It gets dark so early right now. Gives some of us perhaps pause about whether or not we want to go back outside to the market to get that thing that we forgot for dinner, to get that present that we forgot for so-and-so, to get that wrapping paper, to get that thing that we think we need. But maybe the darkness reminds us that we have everything we need right here. That you can take off the jacket and put on the bathrobe. That you can take off the shoes and put on the fuzzy socks and slippers. And that you can sit on the couch with your loved ones, curl up next to them, and wonder what comes next. Wonder what strength you need to build up during this winter for the challenges that you face when you go back out into the world. It may be months of waking up in the dark and curling up with coffee or tea by the soft light, the soft glow of a lamp. Maybe months of enjoying the beautiful curls of the steam that come off your mug of tea or coffee in the morning. Months of that mode of sitting on the couch, wondering what comes next for yourself and for our world. And that might be hard to do, to sit and to wonder, and to sit still when it feels like there always has been so much that needs to be done. Whether that be on your own to-do list or whether that be on the to-do list of our society, the to-do list of our world, all of those things that you want to continue to see to be better, not worse. It's strange that at the darkest time of the year, we also celebrate the return of light, when things feel hardest, we also celebrate the return of light. Because we remember that even after that darkest day, that is when things finally are actually starting to get better. We remind ourselves that what feels covered in darkness, what feels like it is being removed or buried, might just be something that is waiting to break free, might just be something that is being uncovered. So let's make some space today to sit in that darkness, to sit in that moment, for it may help us to notice the small spark of divine light that is already here. Let us not rush towards the twinkling or the artificial lights and miss the divine spark that is here already. So today, in the spirit of winter, let us let the dark of winter, with its quiet calm, surround us, and let our thoughts lead where they will. Let them soothe our weary eyes so we may see more clearly. And let our hearts, let our spirits, let our minds, let our souls hear in that darkness, in that stillness with a voice, a still, small voice of love eternal. Will you sing our opening hymn with me now? Number 55, Dark of Winter. And I'm going to invite you to stay seated as we sing this hymn, to let yourself rest and feel the quiet calm surround you.
Please stand in body or in spirit and join me in the words and song of affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need. This we do affirm and covenant with each other. Thank you. You may be seated. Every Sunday, we take a special collection to support nonprofit groups that serve human need. This week's offering will provide support to the Interfaith Nutrition Network. The Inn has been committed to serving hungry and homeless Long Islanders since 1983 with dignity, respect, and love. Shelter Rock has a long-term relationship with the Inn. Our members have been cooking and delivering food to Inn shelters for 3 decades. In your order of service and on the screens, you see ways to give. Please give generously as you are able. Please now join me in singing hymn number 402, From You I Receive.
There really is something about this time of year, especially when it first becomes truly cold, and I could not have planned a better weather morning for this sermon than what we have today. Yesterday, my family has a tradition of celebrating the winter solstice together, and we often do that by going on a solstice walk outside in the cold. Hopefully there's some snow, and yay, we were gifted with some beautiful, bright, glistening powder for our walk yesterday. Except it was really, really cold, and I got my 2 daughters bundled up. They're both pretty little. The oldest one is only 5. We got them bundled up, and we put them in our little push wagon that we have, fully bundled up with snacks and water underneath the blanket, tucked on top of them with their hats and everything, despite the wind and the cold. And we went for a walk around our neighborhood, just to spend some time together and to pay attention and to notice all of the beautiful things, all of the decorations, all of the trees and the way the sunlight hits the snow on their branches, just to walk around and to be with each other. Because I know sometimes that when we are trying to sit still in our own apartment, things don't always sit still. They're kind of all over the place sometimes. Maybe you're like me or my family, where when you try to sit still sometimes, it's hard to do so, and you end up just noticing all the little things that you have to do. But this was like an intentional moment, an intentional time, where we knew that what we were doing was going out to cozy, but to spend time together, and to really just pay attention and be intentional with each other. And I found myself, as we were walking around, thinking about the holiday season, thinking about my own childhood, thinking about the memories that I have from the holiday season as a kid. Looking at my 2 kids being super cute in that wagon together, but also shivering, walking through the streets of Queens, wondering if I was giving them the best possible solstice that I could have. Wondering if they had everything they needed and if I was making it fun enough. If I had maybe should have put that extra pair of socks on them, or was the hat that we got for them just right? Or shoot, I did not go to the market and I have no idea what I'm going to make for dinner tonight. Thinking about them and what they need and what I have to offer them and how I can give them good memories. Wondering if I was good enough of a person, of a parent. Never mind all of the other things that I had to do that day. But I was focused on the people in my life who matter most to me, and what I need to do to connect with them, and what I need to do to warm them up, physically, emotionally, spiritually. There's something about this time of year, about this coldness, whether you are a Christmas house, a solstice house, a Hanukkah house, whether you celebrate a different holiday this time of year or none at all, or whether you just are bundled up trying to get through the cold, dark winter. There's something about this time of year that brings on wistful thoughts, maybe, nostalgic thoughts, wonderings, longings of all of those things we got right, all of those things we got wrong, all of those things that we missed out on, all of those perfect holidays that could have been but weren't, all of those people that we will never get to spend the holidays with again, or the ones that we could but we just know shouldn't. This is a hard time of year for many. And yes, a beautiful time, too. It is a season of complexity, a season when your mind might turn to the past, to the future, and yes, to the present of what is before you right now, too. So the reason I asked you to think about entering to this time together as a prayer of being together is to allow yourself to feel and to hold the complexity of everything that you are holding right now. At this time of year when we place so much emphasis on things being perfect and shiny and flashy and beautiful, that you hold space for what you need to hold space for in your heart right now. That you hold some stillness for your own benefit. They say it's always darkest before the dawn. Maybe you've heard that phrase, that saying before. But I don't actually think that is true. I'm not sure scientifically that's even true. But emotionally, for me, it's not true either. Because just before the dawn is when there is always that tiny little speck of light that begins to emerge. And maybe it's that contrast between the darkness and the light that makes us realize how dark it has been throughout the night. Maybe it's that contrast that makes us notice the extremes that life can hold, the different experiences that life can hold. But in the dawn, in that darkest moment, so to speak, it's the paying attention, it's the noticing that makes us see that little speck of light that begins to emerge, reminding us that the sun and the earth do not stay still, that no darkness lasts forever, that things will always come around again, and there will always be another chance. That the way we spend these moments together now matter. For we will never have another day like today again, even if it was a terrible, horrible, no good very bad day, that there were moments of beauty in it, moments when you were doing the best that you could, moments to be savored, even if we're ready for the dawn of a new day. So what I want to invite you to do today is to hold all those complex things that you're feeling at this time of year, to hold those questions, those wonderings, those perceived shortcomings of your own. And not to try to rush through them, whether they be joyful or sorrowful, but to let them be with you today and to acknowledge them. And for you to witness that for each other. So today, if despite the decorations or the lights, the cards, the jolly music in every freaking store that you've heard over and over again, ads telling you that you can buy happiness and joy, if you don't feel so much like celebrating whatever it is that you celebrate for whatever reason, may you know that there is a space for you. May you know that there are others here who are wondering, who are wishing, who are hoping, who are looking for that little small speck of light happening at that darkest time of the day. We'll do that in a few minutes by lighting some candles. But right now, what we're going to do, before we move on to lighting candles ourselves, is we're going to light one small little light in each of these boxes. What I invite you to do during the music that will come next is to notice these lights, to look upon them. To let them remind you of that small speck of light that is always waiting to emerge on the horizon, that you need to draw your attention to notice. And think upon the things in your life that reveal that small speck of light to you. Whether it be a walk in the cold, a moment cozying up on the couch, or maybe a planning meeting where you're setting your intentions and your goals with others who care about something that you care about. All of those small things that you do, and big things in your life, that reveal the speck, the light of hope within. As you look at these lights, I share these words of Patricia McCarran Runkle, to remind you that as you come up to light candles, when you do, to see this space here by these boxes as a sacred space for you. And slip off your shoes, as Runkle writes, and set them by the door. Enter barefoot this darkened chapel, hollowed by loss, hollowed by sorrow. Its gray stone walls and floor, you, your congregation. May you arrive here to listen, not to sing, to notice, and to kneel in the back pew. Make no sound. Let the candles speak. The beauty, the hope, the light that we have to find this time of year, and really always, is not something that we can do by ourselves. Fire is not something that can be carried or tended or kept going by one single person. We light candles together. We spend time together as people because we know that truth deep in our hearts. We know that we cannot carry all of the burdens that we carry any time of year by ourselves. No one should have to. We gather together to remind ourselves that we can bring the heavy things, the heavy loads that we carry, and we can set them down here. So that we can remind ourselves if that we arrive here today not carrying quite so much, that we can help others to carry what they carry. Or that if we are lost in the dark, we can help each other to find the speck of light. I'm wearing a very lovely tie today. At least I think it's a lovely tie. I don't wear ties very often because many, many years of Catholic school made me come to really have contempt for the idea of having to wear something around my neck every day. But every once in a while, I feel moved to adorn myself with something beautiful. So yesterday, after my walk with my kids, I actually went back out for a few minutes to the charity thrift shop in my neighborhood. I was thinking maybe I could use a tie for Christmas. I felt the need, I guess, to buy something for myself to enter into the spirit of consumerism just a little bit. But I went to the charity thrift shop where I knew things that people didn't need were donated, that I could spend some money to support a cause that I cared about, to support an organization in my neighborhood that's doing something beautiful to bring love and to bring hope and to bring light to those in our neighborhood, to those who we live with. Except I didn't realize, well, actually I'll save that part for a sec. So I was rifling through the bin, and when the manager of the store came over to me and told me that the ties were on sale that day, this weekend, for the mighty sum of 2 for $1. I was ecstatic. I like things sometimes, and I also like getting things for not quite so much. And so I spent some time picking out just the perfect one with red and a little bit of teal, and then another one because I wasn't gonna just get one if they were 2 for $1. And I started a conversation with a woman next to me who was really admiring my style. And we were talking about, her plans for the holidays and mine and my kids and her grandkids. And then I went up to the counter. I wished her, happy holidays. And I went up to the counter to pay for the tie. And I realized I didn't have my wallet on me. And to my frustration, the shopkeeper wouldn't let me pay with my phone because it was only $1. I'm not going to run the credit card machine for $1. And I said, I understood. And I put the ties down thinking, okay, maybe today is just not my day. And when the woman who I had been chatting with insisted on paying for my ties, now the proud part of me wanted to say no. I can find that dollar myself. I can take care of myself and get the tie myself. But there was a voice in me, because I was cold and I really didn't want to have to come back out again with my wallet to get the tie, or maybe because I recognized that we had a connection and she wanted to acknowledge that connection. And that for her it was a meaningful act for her to do something nice for someone else. Something small. Something that might seem pretty small. Certainly monetarily was small, at least to most people, maybe not to everyone. And so I graciously let her get me my ties. And I went on with my day. And we chatted a little more, and I thanked her. But I walked away realizing just how much I need other people. Not because I needed the dollar for the tie, but because it's so valuable and important to know that when we forget, when we fall, that there is someone there to catch us, even if it is someone who we have never met before. I could have perhaps come up with a story of a stranger helping me out in a hard time that was maybe a little bit more dramatic. Maybe some of you could think of many of those stories that you've experienced in your own lives, or maybe you've been that person showing up for someone when they needed it the most. But on a cold day, it was just nice to know that even in the anonymity, I can never say that word, in the anonymity, yep, you know what I'm trying to say. In the anonymousness of living in New York City, where there are always people rushing by us getting somewhere. There's this idea that if you drop your wallet on a busy sidewalk, you can just you expect to never get it. Or if you drop something and you need help picking it up, no one's going to help you because everyone's rushing by and there's so many people. But even in a busy store, there was someone who took the time to acknowledge that there was someone who could use some help. And I really needed that help, that love, that connection, that acknowledgement that day. So the reason I said I invited you when you come up to light your candles to see this space as something truly sacred is that I'm going to invite you to come up to light some candles silently to mark all of those, to mark the complexities of emotions and feelings that you might be experiencing right now. I'll say a little more about that in a moment. But I want to invite you to do that, and I'm inviting you to do it together. That doesn't mean you need to talk while you're lighting candles, but what it means is that I ask you when you come up to notice that you're doing it with other people who are sharing, who are marking what they're carrying in their hearts, marking things that are deep and meaningful to them. And so maybe when you light your candle, as someone else does, take a moment to look at them, to look at someone, to be a witness to what they're offering, to what they are holding, to what they are marking. And whether that be through a smile or a nod, to make them know that they're not alone in carrying that thing. You may not know what that thing is, and they may not fully understand it either. But they will know, and you will know, that they're not alone. That they are not alone at this time of year or any time of year. And that they have a place, that you have a place to come to bring those things. Madison is going to help get us started with some candles. We light our first candle for all of that pain that is felt more sharply during this time of year. To remember those that we have loved and lost. To take a moment to let some light remind us of the spark of beauty that they brought in their face, in their smile, that the joy that existed in their voice. The harsh or loud shriek of their laugh, perhaps. The taste of the food that they cooked. The memories of holidays that you spent with them that can never be taken away from you. To remind you that those are still there in your memory, in your mind, in your heart, to be accessed, to share with others, to keep that joy, that laugh, that smile, that food, those songs alive. We light another candle today. for the grief that comes of loss, but not just loss of life or presence, but the loss of relationships, people who may still be alive, who we are disconnected to. The loss that comes from losing a job or losing security during a hard time of year. The loss of health that may be hard to heal. The loss of a sense of safety that many carry in this country right now. Or even perhaps the loss of faith. The loss of a belief in something that once truly mattered to you. For all who have lost and who experience loss, we offer this light. And we light one more candle for hope. Not as that delicate, ephemeral thing with feathers, as Emily Dickinson said, but something that is weighty. The hope that is found in the dirt under our fingernails. The hope that is found in hugs and conversations to help heal broken hearts. The hope that is found in tired feet that are marching on a long journey towards justice, towards liberation, towards love. The hope that is cultivated in determination and defiance of those who would bring our world back, of those who would deny justice and equity and love. The hope that reaches down and helps someone to get back up. May the spark of that candle, this candle, these candles, all of these candles remind us of what we are capable of at even the darkest times. And so I invite you all to come up and light some candles for whatever joy or sorrow or complex truth that you carry this time of year and all. And to gather around these boxes once more, like I said, as if they were the hearth in your kitchen. And to look at your family, those you share this community with, and to let them know, remind them that they are not alone. Continue to gaze on these lights, on these candles, and let them remind you of all that is unseen and all that is seen in our community. All that is present, all that you carry. All that you must help each other with. And don't forget to share those sparks of light, those stories, those things that you carry with others. And know that there just might be someone out there who might help you in some small way. And know that you might be that person for someone else too. So maybe when you go from here and you have lunch today or to wherever it is that you are going, you might want to share. You might want to share the spark in your candle, the light that you kindled, the story that you carry today and always. Our closing words are by the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker.
In the shadowed quiet of winter's light, earth speaks softly of her longing.
Because the wild places are in tears, come, she cries to us. Kneel down here on the frosty grass and feel the prayer buried in the ground.
Bend your ear to my heart and listen hard. Love this world, she whispers. Distill peace from the snow and water the cities with mercy.
Weave wonder from the forest and clothe grief with beauty.
Rest in the rhythm of the turning year, trace the bending arc, rounding the curve toward justice, and vow anew to do no harm.
For the winter trees, stand watch. Haloed in the last gleams of the slanting sun, glory sings here. Heaven echoes the call. Repeat the sounding joy. Make your life an answer. Repeat the sounding joy. Make your life an answer. Go in peace.
As Werke sinken,